We got a band now. Amen. Hallelujah. Felt like I was back at BOGT in Alexandria, Louisiana. Good music, good singing. Hallelujah. Amen. If your mom is here, turn to her and say, I love her. Amen. Hallelujah. If that lady that you consider your mom, and she's not your mom, but she's like a mom, you need to tell her, I love her. Amen. Praise God. Now turn to your neighbor and say, I'm so glad you're here.
Glad you're here. Glad you're here, Chris. Playing repeater up here.
If you smile really big, you may be seated. Rosemary. Man, what a beautiful service. You know, you don't realize how much somebody means to you until they are no longer there. Amen. And it is good to express to people how much you love them. And this is not in my notes, it's not part of my message this morning. But I promise you, if you live long enough, the seasons of your life change. And maybe you were estranged from mom for a while, or maybe you didn't agree for a while. But somewhere along the line, God can fix that relationship and can make it beautiful again. And I have seen it time and time again where the relationship between a mother and her child was strained, but God intervened, and over time there was a change. And you only get one mom, just one. Just one opportunity. She may be biological, she may have been somebody that stepped in to fill a void. It may be just somebody that they've adopted you and mothered you, but they are your mother. And you only get one of them, so love them. Love them. I say to the fathers, you want your children to love their mother, then you love your wife. Amen. The greatest example of love that you can show to your children, father, is how you love your wife. If you're not talking rude to her and pushing her around verbally, God help you if you're touching her. But don't tell me I don't want to know because I don't want to teach you. But you loving your wife and your children seeing it will cause them to love their mother. You are the dynamic, you are the principal person in the family that initiates it, because men do not naturally show affection and love. That's just not us. We're hard. It's a handshake. Hey, dude! You know, that's us. But when it comes to our wife, I don't go up, hey, high five, lady. Well, you might, you know. My wife is precious to me. I could proudly say I've never hit her. I can't say the things that I've heard. Always found it impossible to explain before the judge in my mind. I'm thinking, what would I say? So she hit you and it hurt, huh? But to show a woman respect and love as a father is very important for the children. They will follow your example. Let me tell you something about little girls, men. You're their first love. They fall in love with daddy first. And he shows them everything about love, but never that physical. That's for the husband. Cuddles them, cares for them, tells them they're beautiful, supports them, protects them. And you know what they do? They learn to be a mother, believe it or not, to their children by how that reaction with their father was. It gives them a sense of peace. It gives them an idea of how I should interact with my children. Fathers are important. This is Father's Day. This is Mother's Day. But I'm telling the fathers, how you treat your wife is how your children are going to treat you. Amen? I promise I won't be long because the lines over there at the restaurants are. My title today is We Need Moms. We need moms. A little more specific is, oh, we need our moms. Amen. We need moms, not supermodels. There is something that appalls me, and the older I get, maybe the more I realize the beauty of a woman is not in how she looks, but in who she is. And the more I realize that and reflect, I love my wife more now for who she is and not what she looked like. Now, she was cute, I don't even lie. Still is, but there's so much pressure on women today to look and not be. They look beautiful. They look gorgeous. But there's no substance. Because we're not teaching young women that the value of who they are is in what they do and what they become and not how they look.
That's right. Amen.
The reason I don't have Facebook on my phone, and I do get on it through the internet and log in and look once in a while, but I don't want it because there's so much projection of beauty, where beauty is vain. I love my wife and she's beautiful, but I'm connected to her beyond the beauty, because when in the morning and she's not as cute as she is right now, I still love her the same. There has to be something in a woman that is beyond the superficial. And so today we need moms and not supermodels. You can't always keep this appearance up. And you know what? This is not important. To be beautiful all the time it is something that a woman just, oh, I'd love to be beautiful. Just wait, could you imagine if she just woke up, bing, hair just flows back. Those that want curly hair have straight hair. Those that want straight hair have curly hair. Poor ladies. But that's not life. Life is waking up at 2 in the morning and changing a diaper that's spilled out into the bed, so now the bed needs to be changed, and the formula's got to be made, and you just went to bed, and now you're up again, and there's tears, and there's frustration, and he's sleeping like a log over there, and hasn't got up to do anything, and you're sitting there rocking your child and thinking, my God, I've got to get up and go to work in 3 hours, and I haven't gone to bed yet. Welcome to being a mom. Those are the things we need to impress on women. That it's what you do in your life, not how you look, that makes you a mother. I see comparisons. They only put the beautiful things on TV. That's what sells. And so I see all these pictures of all these beautiful moms. And they got everything together. You know, the car's right, the house right, and everything's clean. They got all the right furniture, and they're all done up. And friend, that woman is so stressed there's no peace in her life because she's trying to uphold an image of what beauty must look like, not realizing that it's so much easier just to be a mom. You know what? When I call my mom, I don't really care what she looks like. I just want to hear her voice. I remember being a little boy and I stepped on a nail, and I was just a little guy, and I stepped on a nail and I seen it come up through the top of my foot. And my brother tried to pull it out, and it hurt so bad, I just hobbled to the house, and my dad reached up there and pulled it off, but all I wanted was my mom. I didn't care what she looked like at the moment. I didn't care what she smelled like at the moment. All I wanted was my mother. You see, there's so much pressure on women to be something that they're not. You can't be what's on TV, what's on Facebook, what's on Instagram. You can't be a model that flies all over the world and be happy. Why? Because you're a mom. And there's little people that are trying to become big people, and they call you mom, and they're looking for you. And they don't really care how you look. I'm supporting the ladies, I really am. We need moms, not Wonder Woman. Moms. You don't have to do it all. You don't have to wear yourself out making everything just so perfect for your children and for your husband and in your house. You don't have to try to compete with somebody that has a little more to make yours worthwhile. Because you know what you're doing? You're not enjoying what you've got. You've got family that loves you. You've got children that loves you. And you know what? Mac and cheese with hot dogs cut up in it is just as good as the filet mignon when you're hungry. And you know what? Sometimes I'd rather just throw something in the microwave and let's have some time together. Then, you don't think anyway. But for some of you hot ladies that have to get in there, it's nice making a good meal once in a while. But don't kill yourself trying to do it to where it's so disappointing because it was so stressful that you couldn't even sit down and take a bite because you were so stressed. We're not looking for Wonder Woman. We just need to cry hungry. Kids, we're having bologna sandwiches and you're going to like it. You know what? When they're hungry, they'll eat it. We need women that want to show love and to be the mothers and caring person and loving. And you can't do that when you're stressed out about every little thing in life. When mama's not at peace, ain't nobody at peace. Every once in a while, Dad, you got to look at Mom and see that the hair's straight and that there's eyes are bloodshot and her hands are gripped. And you need to say, you know, lady, you need a day off. Me and the kids are going somewhere. You just stay at the house, be calm. I'll have food sent to you. You know, don't look at your spouse, man. Don't look at your beautiful wife there and expect her to be like somebody else, because she's not somebody else. She's the woman you married. You said I do. That's it. It wears me out sometimes when I see women trying to do more than they're capable of doing, and there's no joy in it. Sometimes you just got to sit back and enjoy life. Get all the kids and just let them play in the living room. Now, we never did. The grandkids did. But enjoy the moment because it's going to go by like that. Enjoy the children that come up and call you mommy. Little Cole. Woo! My goodness. You can sell that on YouTube. Make money. Little Aiden. These little precious children. They don't care how nice the home is. They just want a nice home. They're happy if it's just, stuff on the ground. They don't care. They probably cook there. The bed's not made. It's okay. They're going to go and jump on it. Ladies, just be mom. Don't be Wonder Woman. Don't be so stressed about every little thing, every little detail. You can't control everything. Look, I'm preaching for y'all. I am. I'm telling you what you don't have to be. You don't have to be some playboy model out there that everybody looks at and wants, but underneath there's nothing. You can be a woman of substance that has character, that when the children look at their mom, they say, I want to be like her. When a young man grows up and he looks at his wife, he looks at his mom, and I don't care what she looks like, but that's who I want to marry. It'll have an impact on them forever. You got a short time to be a mom, just a short time. I promise you it seemed like yesterday I held that little girl in my arm, just yesterday. And now I've got her children in my arm. So you get one shot at it. Sometimes we need to focus more on them than on this. The reflection of who you are will be seen in your child, not in this. I'm telling you, I'm helping you moms out. You know what's funny is, I've heard it 1,000 times. Now, I'm a cook. I love to cook. I love to eat. If you've been to my house, I probably fed you. That's just how it is.
I make all kinds of food, and I promise you 1,000 times, this is not exaggeration. I'll say, hey, how's that food? How's that potato salad? Man, it's good, bro. It's not like my mom's. Well, I've had your mom's. Ain't no bacon in your mom. Ain't no egg in your mom. Ain't no garlic in your mom. But you know what? His favorite potato salad is his mom's. Why? Because mom made potato salad. The best fried chicken you'll ever eat is mom's. The best iced tea you've ever had was mom's. Why? Because mom made it. When mom made things, she loved me. You know, you can impact a life. You don't even have to bear a child to be a mother to a child. I don't have to be every child's in here their father, but I know the role of a father. And I can love on them, and I can instruct them, and I can help them as a father. Though they're not my children, in my heart I've adopted them, and I love them. You ladies that are grown or maybe didn't have children or haven't had children yet, you want to practice? I see about 20 kids in here. That when they run up to you, instead of swatting them away, grab them around the waist and let them talk to you for a while. Let them engage with you. Let them speak with you. And let me tell you, you're impacting a life when you give a little bit of love and attention. You want to be a mom, find somebody to love and to nurture and to care for, and you'll learn to be a mom. Nobody feels good when something bad happens to mom. Sometimes we struggle as we get older and mom gets older. I didn't want to say this, but I'm gonna. Forgive me, okay? Everybody's putting pictures of their mom. You know what they write? They write these little beautiful things. The most beautiful lady I've ever known. She's my mom. Here's a picture of a lady. Okay, maybe 40 years ago she was cute. She's not beautiful today. But that child sees that mom.
That's right.
She don't see this. My precious wife was talking to her precious mom this morning, and they were both in balls of tears. Why? Because they missed each other. There was a bond created. And my wife has a little egg timer, a little terminal thing. It's only so long before I'm paying for a ticket for my wife to go back to California to see her mom. Because there's only a certain amount of time she can be away from her. Why? Because somewhere in her life, mom connected with her. It doesn't matter how it turns out, it's that mom connected. And when a little baby or a full-grown adult says, I need my mom, they're saying words that are sacred, that are precious. There's nothing like your children honoring you. And that's why little Cole touched me so much. He called his mom baby. Hey, baby. You can't buy that. You can't purchase that. You have to earn that. And when you spend the time being a mom, and I'm telling you, and there's always a period in life, and I want to caution you moms that maybe you're struggling with your children. Anybody here raised children? Not growing right now, but have raised them. Anybody who've raised them and they're out of the house? You ever had one tough day with them? Somebody got 2 or 3 hands up. Somebody lifted a leg up there. What is that saying? Reality is, children, they grow and they come down, they go up and they go down and they go up and they go down. But you know what mom does? She's just there. She's just there. And when they're up, it's mom. And when they're down, my mom. And when they're up, oh, mom. And when they're down, man, I can't believe she did that. Just be mom. Because you're the anchor in a little person's life, or maybe a grown adult's life, that they look around them and they see confusion, but in the back of their mind, they know where mom's at. As long as they got a hand on mom or mom's got a hand on them, good. There was a study done, and this is true. There was a study done. They have a tremendous amount of ships sunk during World War II. Thousands of ships sunk. Tens of thousands of men spent nights, weeks, several weeks in the ocean. Some that were in the colder latitudes where there was a large multitude of sharks had to fend off the sharks while they were in the water. And they did a survey and a study on all these men that had survived shipwreck, and there was a common denominator that they drew a line to that all these men that survived had in their life. Every one of them had a strong mother. You know what? When you're tied to your mom, in your mind, everything's going to be okay. If mom's here, when you're in the hospital, you hurt yourself, you cry for mom, mom comes running. You know when mom gets there, it's going to be okay. You know, it's harder and harder to say these words now because there's so many families that are broken. But God. But God. It doesn't matter where you're at today. My pastor always told me, he said, Matt, finish strong. And I just didn't say that. I'm like, I'm 25. I'm not finishing anytime soon. No, finish strong. Finish strong. You know what he was saying? No matter what the mistakes are in life, no matter what the problems, no matter how you fail, if with your children or with your husband or your spouse, it doesn't matter the failures. Finish strong. So you know what you do? You take all those failures to Jesus, and over time, He starts to begin to put things back together that were broken. He gives you wisdom on how to speak to your children so that you can repair the relationship. He gives you power and strength over the enemy that comes in every day to destroy you. He gives you prayer life. He gives you power over the enemy that's attacking your children. And then He gives you a group of people that love and support you. And this is the environment. The church is the environment where you're going to get positive reinforcement. All the preaching of the Word of God, the good things that are in life. You're reminded of how special people are and relationships are right here in this house. And houses of worship all over this country, just like this today. We're talking about women and how great they are, where the world just exploits them. They're just an object. My wife is not an object. She's a beautiful person that I love, that has cared for me for 31 years, and my children and my grandchildren. You can't buy that. I don't have time, but if you sit and read Proverbs 31, who can find a virtuous woman, for her price is far from rubies? And then it goes on to describe not a thing, but a person, a life. It doesn't matter if you've made a disaster of things. Start today. Go to Jesus. Let Him help you get you right. And then He will help you get all the relationships right. With God, there's never an end. It's always a new beginning. I have come that you might have life and might have it more abundantly. The reason God gave us mothers is He gives us hope. There's nothing like a mom. When Dad's mad, he just stays mad. When Mom's mad, you can go over and blow her up. I'm sorry, the chocolate bar. Oh, it's okay. There's a tenderness about moms. I'm going to throw this in here. 1 Kings 3:22. It's a story about King Solomon and his wisdom. And he's being tested. It was more of a revelation to the children of Israel than for anyone else. That at this moment, this circumstance came before him. There was two women, and they lived in the same house. They both had children, and one had rolled over in the night and suffocated the child. And she woke up and realized what she'd done, and she had swapped babies with the other mother without the other mother knowing. And so they brought the case to King Solomon and started to tell him what had happened. And in 1 Kings 3:22, you hear this story. But the other woman said, no, the living child is mine, and the dead child is yours. And the first said, no, the dead child is yours, and the living child is mine. Thus spoke before the king. Then the king said, The one says, this is my son that is alive and your son is dead. And the other says, no, but your son is dead and my son is the living one. And the king said, bring me a sword. So a sword was brought before the king. And the king said, divide the living child in two and give half to one and half to the other. Then the woman whose son was alive said to the king, friend, there's nothing like the love of a mother. The woman whose son was alive said to the king, because her heart yearned for her son, oh my Lord, give her the living child, and by no means put him to death. But the other said, he shall be neither mine nor yours, divide him. The king answered and said, give the living child to the first woman, and by no means put it to death. She is his mother. You know why it's so precious? God gave us mothers because when nothing else matters in the world but the sanctity and the care of their children. Mama will sit up all night. I remember the kids would get sick and my wife would be up all night. All night. They'd be barfing and chumming and everything. And she'd just be up all night. Why? Because when the kids are sick, Mama's sick. There's a care that is in a woman that God gave her, that she loves her children. What a blessing. What an honor to be called a mother. You ladies that have struggled with your children and got them to that age where they get out of the house and they may not like you right now, but friend, I tell you what turns your children's heart back to you is when they have children. And then the whole time they're there, they're like, man, I should have listened to my mom. Or what would mom do right here? Oh my goodness, I love my mom. Mom, can you watch Johnny? There's nothing like the love of a mother. And you moms have a sacred vow that God has given you, that you take when you get married. And it's not for your husband only, but it's for your children. You are to love and to cherish them until they're old enough to depart. They are given as a gift to you. I'll tell you what, I don't know how these men just have a baby and walk away. They're not men. They're just boys. They're not men. But when these ladies have a child, when my wife had that baby and I was holding little Matthew, they asked me to testify in church. I couldn't. All I did was cry. I couldn't imagine. And you know what? I loved my wife so much because she had given me something so incredible. I have a child because of my wife. How precious is that? Amen. Amen. Romans 6:13. Paul is right in the end of the book. He's greeting everybody. And the 16th verse says, greetings also to Rufus, one of the Lord's chosen people, and to his mother, who has been a mother to me. What an honor, mothers. What a place of honor you hold. You think you're worthless because you're not beautiful. You think that the world doesn't care about you. You're right, they don't. But make people love you by being a mother to them, and you'll have the greatest reward. Friend, there's nothing like a mother. I love when Sister Michaela comes in and she wants to shake my hand. How are you doing, Pastor? You know what she's doing? She's being a mother. You know what you ladies do when you see these kids come in and you grab them and hug them? And you are great at this, Tanya, giving hugs. Them kids run up and give a hug. You know what they're expecting? Acceptance and love from a mother. It makes small people into good big people. Amen? I'm going to close with this little statement. Now, look, every time you're a pastor and you get up and say something inclusive, you're excluding somebody. And I've got my eyes closed for a reason. Because I can say, hey, you know, it's great to have been married 31 years, but then there's people in here that have been through divorce. But I can't not say good things. So there's people in here that have raised their children, and then their children have raised their children, and they've got a great cohesive family. And there's no formula to it. I've seen the best kids come from terrible parents, and terrible kids come from the best parents. There's no rhyme or reason, but I'll tell you this. The greatest influence that I'll ever have is your relationship with God. And you can start a dynasty of good people if you'll just get them into the house of God and teach them early when they're young about the Lord and a relationship with Jesus. but it was the gift of God, the miracle of God. Amen. Let's sing. Sister, if you come. I know Mother's Day is hard for some. It is for me, I'll be honest with you. Several moms and several foster parents. You know, my wife and I have been married a few years. My phone rang, and my wife yelled out, "Hey, it's your mom." And instinctively, I just yelled, "Which one?" I wasn't being rude. I just had a lot of them. And my wife yelled back, "The original." I said, "Okay." That's not offensive. It was reality for me. And I know how hard it is sometimes when you know, God forbid you lose a child. And my heart goes out to anybody that's lost a child. It is no words, just no words. Sometimes even worse than losing a child is being estranged from a child. You just can't be around them, or they can't be around you, or they've gone somewhere that you just can't go. The Bible talks about that. You can read the story of the prodigal son. But friend, for those today, right now, that have loved ones, that have children, they call you mom, ladies. Soak it up. Enjoy it. Take solace in it. Maybe it wasn't that great of a morning, and you know, the outfit you first put on, the little suit you barked on and had to change it, and you know, by the time you got into the car, that didn't quite look the way they did when you got them dressed, and then by the time they get to church, you're like, I tried. We all get that. But enjoy the moment. You know, the older I get, the more I enjoy my kids. Because I realize you don't have them that long. So every moment you're with them, you got to look at them and love them. Some of you that are struggling with today because of loss or estrangement or whatever, you have a God that loves you and has been a parent to you. And you have a church full of people that care about you and love you, and there's plenty of children to go around. And if you need to feel like a mom today and you don't have one, I promise you there's a child. Brother Bates got 6 of them back there. He's waiting right now. Three hugs. I promise you, there's a child in here that will let you pick them up and love on them. You know what? Finish strong is what my pastor said. And what he was saying is, at the end of your life, be that person that you always want to be. But you start by doing it today. Today is the day. Today is the day I break out of this shell and start loving. Moms, appreciate your children. Children, better love on your mom. One day she's not going to be here, and it's going to be tough. Nobody like mom. Nobody. Amen. We're going to sing a song. Do you know this song? Just play something. We're going to spend a few minutes entertaining the Lord. We're going to bow our heads, close our eyes, and I want you to pray for your mom. If she's not with you, you pray for your wife or your spouse or somebody that's a mother to you. I want you to begin to pray that God would bless them today. I don't care where they're at. They may be thousands of miles away, but right now begin to pray. Pray a special blessing on them, that God would touch them today, encourage them, would strengthen them, would give them peace, would let them feel your love for them. Hallelujah, Jesus. Come on, church, begin to pray for that loved one right now. Jesus, God, we pray for all the mothers in our lives. God, I pray a miracle blessing on them today. Touch their hearts and their minds. Encourage them. Let them know we love them. Let them know we reach out to them with our spirits and encourage them. God, I pray a blessing on every mother right now that is stressed because of all the circumstances of life and the pressures of life. Maybe they don't have a husband that's helping them with the children. I pray a blessing on them right now, God. Encourage them with your spirit. Help them, oh God. Lift them up right now. Let them know they're loved and that they're cherished. I pray, God, bless all the mothers in this house with your spirit, Jesus. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Come on, church. Let's worship the Lord a little bit. Hallelujah, Jesus. Oh, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Mighty, mighty God. Oh, we love you. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Amen, amen. I'm going to close. I'm going to do something that's going to make you feel uncomfortable, but I just want all the mothers to come right up here, right in the front. Man, come on up, ladies. There you go. Amen. Oh, mama. Come on up. You're a mom.
I'm not a mother anymore. I'm a grandmother. I'm a grandmother.
Come on, ladies. Come on. You can do it. Now turn around and look out there. Men, children, isn't this a wonderful group of ladies? Aren't they beautiful? Amen. Squeeze in here, squeeze in here. I didn't know this, but I was doing this for my wife so she could get a picture. They're already up there. This right here is the mothers in our church, right here. There's some potential moms out there, but we want you married first. But there's some mothers right here that have children that love them. And husbands that cherish them. Amen? Let's give a thank hand, guys. Amen, amen, amen. All right. I want y'all to give your moms a hug, give your wives a hug, and tell them you love them. And then we're going to go get lined in all the restaurants with all the rest of them.